Hello, and welcome to Wyverns Weirdos Fathomless, D&D Podcast set in the world of Fierlor. I'm your Dungeon Master Darby, and joining me as always are Eddie, playing Tibble, Mitch, playing Neris, Johanna, playing Alton, Laura, playing Janice, and Jake, playing Fishman. Let's jump into it. Where we last left off, the crew of the Polaris faced a threat of the Red Phoenix, a pirate ship within the Pactless Isles as they traveled through and fought them to somewhat of a stalemate, at which point they parlayed and an agreement was reached between the two captains that should there come a time, then 𝘬𝘁𝘁 may be requested to come to the aid of Tibble. And at that point, everyone returned into place, and the two ships parted ways. The rest of the day went pretty without any real incident. So unless there's anything anyone wants to do in that evening, I am going to say, Neris, as the quartermaster, can you mark off 20 rations to account for the crew's food for the day? And anything else you need to adjust down. I think that's about it at this point. And as everyone has their long rest and their time to wake in the morning, can I get someone to volunteer to roll me a D... Oh, two people I need to volunteer to roll me a D20.
I'll do it. Also, do we have to keep watch overnight?
Probably should.
That's what the lookouts are for. So you would most likely take it in shifts with the junior lookout, who I don't have that sheet open, so I forget who that is. I believe it's one of my backup characters.
𝘏𝑗𝑠 the
Taylor
worst.
Bones.
Yeah, Bones.
I rolled a 15.
15? And what was
It's a D20. A 6.
Okay, so this day there's a bit of light rain with the weather. Nothing though that's going to cause significant issues. So yeah, it's not going to be the most pleasant to be out on deck unless you're a fan of being rained on.
Luckily, I am.
Is there anything folks would like to do with this day?
So, fairly early in the morning, Neris would have woken up a little bit earlier than most of the senior staff, as he normally does. He gets up, he does a couple of stretches, and goes into his study and grabs Toad the Toad and sort of takes him out on deck for his morning walk. And will then at some stage go and knock on the door to the captain's quarters and request an audience.
You will not have to do that as you walk up onto the deck with Toad. You will find your captain, Captain 𝘍𝘢𝘵𝘭𝘪𝘐. He is quite joviously training or practice training on a small sack of rice that he has dragged up from the stores. You, having been on this ship for a fair while, would know that 𝘏𝘏 is an obnoxiously early riser and very much a morning person. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Neris and Toad then will sort of just observe from a distance, and we'll sort of Neris will take a bit of a deep breath and walk up to the captain. Good morning, Captain.
Neris, me boy, lad, how are you doing this morning?
Well, actually, that is something that I wanted to speak with you about, if possible. Everything is fine. I would just like to have a conversation with you if we can.
Aye, of course, lad. You know, anytime. Is this a on-deck sort of thing, or shall we go to me quarters?
Well, I would not mind going to your quarters if you are not opposed to the idea. We will be discussing yesterday's incident.
Of course. And will young Toad be joining us?
Well, I don't see any reason why he would not come along. He is incredibly tight-lipped about certain matters, so I would trust him implicitly.
Of course. And 𝘏𝘏 would then, from where he stands, look up, but in a different direction, so that he is looking at Toad, wherever Toad is. Where are you holding Toad right now? Or is Toad sitting on like a shoulder?
The conversation, it probably would have been on the right shoulder.
So he just looks slightly to his left. Neris is right. Is that how things work? I don't know. Yes, I think it is. He looks slightly to his left up at Toad, and Neris would just hear this coming from 𝘏𝘏 as he converses very shortly with Toad. And then Toad responds a little bit, and you would hear 𝘏𝘏 just go, "Oh, the mouth on that boy, lad, you've got to keep him on a leash."
Well, we have discussed that if his behavior does not improve.
Hey, wonderful. Well, he knows what he said, and I'm sure he'll think on it and his behavior forthwith. Isn't that right, Toad? To me quarters then, lad.
Right, of course. Do you wish for me to bring this rice back to the storage, or do you want it left out on the deck?
Don't be silly. We'll go past it on the way. And you see as this small mouse hoists up over his shoulders this bag of rice that is probably like, how big's it like 1 kilo sack of rice? It's probably about his size. He hoists it up on his shoulders. And he 2 feet meanders beside you, which is, when you see him wandering on his bipedals, you can tell that he's in a more casual and relaxed state, where if he needs to get somewhere or he's on the go, he's scurrying along on his all fours.
Well,
is there anything anyone else would anyone else be up? Like, would we pass anyone on our way?
I'll butt in quickly. Giannis would be up on deck because he'd be instructing most of the crew that are working there. He probably might be just doing a combination of either crawling and using his wings to balance his way out. He's looking at inspecting all the rigging currently and just rechecking some of the knots and everything like that. And when he looks at it, Captain, Quartermaster, Toad. Good morning to you all.
Beautiful morning, isn't it, Janice?
And Janice looks up at the rain kind of pelting down. He's like, absolutely. This can only bode well. Oh, great 𝘍𝘢𝘵. Well, have a wonderful morning. Let me know if you need anything, of course. He kind of flutters, he shakes his wings a bit, like the rain sort of splatters off a little bit, probably a couple of raindrops pelting onto Nereus, but artfully missing everyone else.
As your God blesses you, they also bless me.
As above, so below. Absolutely.
Keep up the good work, Janice.
Of course. And he kind of ducks back into what he's doing.
And is Alton up, or would Alton not be or would Alton be in a place where we're not?
He would probably be in the kitchens getting breakfast ready. I'm not sure if the storage room is near the kitchen, so you have to go through it.
Yeah, Darby, can we, if there is a map, get the map pasted into the Excel doc? In a new tab at some stage, doesn't have to be now.
Yeah.
Is in the for reference, it is in the chat, but obviously I know it can take a bit to. I believe it's in the chat. Yes, it is.
Beautiful, wonderful listeners at home. If this isn't edited out, our group chat has a lot in there, so I'm not looking for that.
Mostly memes.
Yeah.
So the galley and mess is down below, whereas captain's quarters are are basically accessible by the deck, as are officers' quarters. So it probably also depends on, because Alton, as a senior officer, your quarters are higher up than the galley. So depends on whether you're making your way down the galley for the day or not.
Yeah, I guess if it's quite early in the day, he could be doing so, since it was a bit of a tiring day yesterday. Yeah, so I guess he'll just see you going by and be like, "Morning, Captain. Is that a bag of rice that you have there?"
Aye, lad, it is. Was using it for training, you see. We do have dummies, but they're a bit large for casual training for my types.
I see. He's just trying to restrain himself, and he's like, that's your prerogative to use it as you wish.
Apologies, lad. Should I have consulted you beforehand? I'm not sure what the store's policy
is.
It's
fine. It's just probably not best if it's out in the rain or amongst where anyone can get to it.
See this, lad? This is why I leave all the cooking up to you and Cara. No knowledge in this head of mine for cooking, only for adventuring and fighting and sailing and a few other things, but just not cooking.
Of course, yeah. It's not the kind of thing that you need. No, that's okay. I'll
if you're on your way down there.
Sure.
And he just kind of it shuffles the rice a little bit, and he's like, would save me a trip.
All right, yes, I'll take him down then. Excellent. And Alton looks physically it looks like it's a lot harder for him to carry this kilo of rice than it is for tiny little Tibble. Great.
Just
Getting breakfast ready.
don't strain yourself, lad. If it can be put down, like it's fine, I can always put it back later. But, if it makes it, it makes it.
Yes, of course. No, thank you for your consideration. I'll get it over. You're all fine after the battle yesterday. You didn't take too many hits, but
I think our poor lad here took it worse than I did, but I am a smaller target. So
absolutely. Well done, Neris. You come have an appointment with me if you're still not feeling well.
Thank you. I may do that. I need to have a conversation with you regarding the stores anyway.
Of course. I'll be in the kitchen. And he wanders off with the rice bag.
Tibble just nods up to Neris and he's like, good lad, that one. Cut from a good cloth.
It does appear to be capable.
That's exactly what I want in a man. And a woman. Any person, really. To my quarters, then.
Of course, leads the way.
They do that. They wander over to Tibble's quarters. Now, I will just note that when we do get to the captain's quarters that he shares with his wife, Kara is not there, and Alton will most likely see Kara in the kitchens, which she has been there. Some of the staff may relay to Alton that she has been there since probably about 3 a.m. Yeah. Well, lad, Mikasa Etsukasa.
I do speak many languages. That is not one of them. I'm sorry.
Make yourself at home.
Of course. So,
I picked that little saying up from some of the pub folk back at the Old Isles.
oh, of course, yes. There are many a language to pick up from a lovely pub.
Pup, lad, like a small dog, but bipedal like myself.
Oh, right, not a pub where one can purchase alcohol.
No, though we do have those there too.
Right, well, of course. So, to business. I did have a couple of points to bring up with you, if you are so inclined.
I am very inclined, lad.
The first, of course, and Neris rifles through sort of a little satchel that he's carrying with him, sorts through a couple of notebooks, and pulls out one of them. And says, so, the parley that occurred yesterday afternoon for stocks reasons and the like, how many pounds of trade goods did we get from that vessel?
Well, in exchange for, the lovely Captain Thunderbolt not attempting to slaughter the rest of the crew, she wanted the company of myself for that little duration. We shared a drink, and that was that exchange. However, when I did bring up the lovely young Gloren and mentioned that perhaps we may keep her for our crew if she was not interested in a trade.
A good bargaining tactic.
I thank you, lad. I thought, what a better value of resource to have than friends and contacts. So, now, I want you to hold your excitement here, nurse. I think that there are not many people on these seas that would be able to say this, but we have a promised favor from Captain Thunderbolt herself. Isn't it marvelous?
Oh, a promised favor from a pirate. No?
Aye, lad.
Yes, of course. Those pirates are notorious for keeping their truths, especially to other vessels which they have actively boarded in the past.
She's a good sort, lad. And plus, we could have been killed. She didn't kill us.
No.
You all live and breathe.
I do actually have a theory as to why we did not die. That is because we had a very valuable prisoner on board who was incapacitated, and we held this individual as leverage. No?
Aye.
Right.
For free passage and a new friend. Isn't that wonderful, nurse?
I am trying incredibly hard to contain my excitement. So we, in exchange for the pirates who are actively losing the fight to not try to kill us,
aye,
you had a drink with their captain.
Aye.
Which is technically what a parlay is anyway.
Aye.
I just wanted to make sure we were both on the same page here. Okay, so we did not acquire anything except for the incredibly large favor from the notoriously trustworthy captain. And free passage, of course. Let us not forget about that.
Now, nurse, lad, I can't quite identify what it is. I can sense something in your voice, and I can only guess that it must be just overwhelming. Is that an emotion? Is that a feeling? Overwhelmed?
I can tell you right now, I am definitely feeling
medium
overwhelmed.
Whelmed?
There is a large quantity of whelm.
Well, lad, there's nothing to be overwhelmed by. A new friend is a new friend, and safe passage is as valuable as, well, this beautiful vest that I am wearing, by which I mean usually pirates like to barter money, and we got it essentially for free.
Somebody did, yes. Well, that I do hope that the favor that was offered does come up in the near future, and it is incredibly beneficial. And I would perhaps have need of this book, which I do not need right now, and he'll put it back in his little satchel bag.
On that, lad, did we lose any stores in the skirmish?
We did lose some in the way of weapons, some powder, cannons. There were some damages to to our vessel as well. However, these have, of course, been fixed up post haste by the incredibly talented bosun.
Aye, of course. 'Tis a shame that we took losses, though. Perhaps when we next meet with Captain Thunderbolt, we'll take tally of her losses too and see who came out worse and compensate each other.
I don't think we need to do that. I was under the impression it was fairly clear. But that is, if your prerogative, of course, as captain, you may do so if you so choose. On to the second matter, if you wouldn't mind, and this is more of a personal issue. Of course, nothing very important, obviously, just a minor.
Lad, I would argue that your personal importance weighs a lot more of its weight in gold than anything you have in that book.
There's a lot in this book.
Aye.
Thank you.
But there's a lot in people too. How can I help?
Well, you are unparalleled in your ability to command a fight, both on the seas and on the deck. You are incredibly inspiring to a lot of the crew. That is obviously a very commendable feat. Not many can lead from the front, as we saw from the incredibly trustworthy captain of the other vessel. I would, if possible, the next time we are in some form of fight, which I do so hope is not for a very long period of time, could you not point me out so accurately next time? I
lad,
am not a huge fan of getting a lighting rod shoved in my face.
Lad, I'll be honest with you. That was a great misstep, and you have spoken words of flattery to me that are beyond comprehension for this little brain of mine. I may have to think on them and discuss them with my wife later, see if that's crossing one of her boundaries, but that's neither here nor there. I did take a step in the wrong direction there, and if I'm honest, I likely wouldn't have called a parlay if you weren't damaged so badly. However, it worked out in our favor, I feel. Was a very good parlay. Made a new friend, an interesting contact. But I do see your point, and I'm glad that you trust me enough as a captain to not only come to me with the wonderful accomplishes that we've had in gaining a new friend, but also to come to me with things that you don't like that I have done and teach me of ways to be better. There's nothing more valuable in a leader than knowing when you've fucked up, if you don't mind me language. Oh, apologies.
I do, but it is...
You do.
Means heroes there.
I will work on that too, lad. I will save any, what's the opposite of criticism, lad? Praise? I will save any praise until after the battle. I'll start taking notes. Not during battle, that would be counterproductive. I'll start taking mental notes.
Well, I wish you all the best with that. Thank you very much for being so understanding. Yes, well, unless you have anything for me, I may need to go and speak to our medic. I woke up still feeling the tingles from the zaps.
Apologies. I do believe that Kara also has a balm for the tingles, though I'm not sure if they're the same tingles.
I will definitely seek to speak to them both.
Neris, lad, I truly appreciate you coming to me with with criticisms along with praise. So feel free if there's anything at all you see that I've misstepped in. I mean, you might not always be right, and it might be a discussion, but I'd appreciate if you raise them with me.
Of course, Captain.
If you're comfortable, of course. And if you're not comfortable, Janice is a good second point of call that is similar to me, but just large.
Janice has a way of seeing things from a different perspective, if you will.
Aye, lad. Quite so.
Well, thank you very much for your time, and I will let you get back to your days. I will seek to, in the coming days, have a list of stock and requisitions for you as well. I'm hopefully going to have something ready for you in the next couple of days.
Oh, Neris, before you leave, actually,
Yes.
I'm hoping to have a senior officers dinner this evening. I'll get us set up in me quarters. A bit of a pseudo meeting, if you will, to do with the upcoming mission. So, 1700, that suit?
1700 would work perfectly. Thank you very much.
Aye. Wonderful. Well, thank you, lad.
Thank you, Captain. And Neris will walk out.
So, is there anything folks are doing throughout the day?
Fishman will probably be spending the majority of his morning in his room, and then he'll probably go out and then he'll do his job. So he'll be up in the crow's nest. He'll be checking all of the lines above for Janice. He'll be doing that kind of stuff and just keeping a sticky pick out, just keeping to himself. It's the norm.
Well, as you are doing that, it seems like the most natural time to check for a random encounter as you are in your journey. So roll me a d20, please. Just a flat roll, no
17.
modifiers. 17. Okay. Clear sailing. Other than the light rain.
He's fine. He's loving it up the top at the moment if it's still raining.
Mm.
But yeah, he won't get down until
All clear
there's
up there,
something
navigator?
organised. Yes, everything's quite clear. Everything's quite right. We've got a cruisy sail ahead of us, I think.
Yes, well, apart from the light rain, of course.
No, I think it's fine. I guess the others might not, but yeah, that's their problem.
That's true, that's true. I mean, we're all born with the sea in our veins, but some of us feel it more strongly than some of the others, shall we say.
I do agree. And besides, I think the lick of shine that a little bit of dew adds to the ship, it's quite nice, actually.
I agree. Makes it a bit difficult for the upkeep along, after a couple of years. But, as long as we all keep everything spick and span, I think it all just adds to the flavour of being on the open seas again.
Absolutely. And look, I'm a big fan of just taking in the moment. It's nice right now, and that's all I really care about.
I agree, actually. Living in the moment is the best possible thing to do.
How's everything down below?
All looking pretty good. I've just about finished checking down here. I think it should all be good, so might go and see how all the things are going down the below deck as well. But yes, no, looking good. I think we came off that combat yesterday a lot lighter than I thought we would.
Yes, I'm thankful for the parlay. I feel like it was a very good opportunity. Hopefully,
lucky
we've made
for
a
them, I
friend,
suppose.
or at least I'd like to think.
Hopefully, yes. What did you make of all that, actually? You seem to have a pretty good mark on the captain.
They, like I said, I believe that they are mainly image. They have a lot of might to put behind that image. But most of the fear they represent and their persona they put off, I believe, is a show.
A show?
A respectable show, but a show nonetheless.
Interesting. Well, there's certainly a lot of mystique around pirates and all that. Not that I'd ever be one, but, it's... they do certainly generate a lot of stories. So I suppose... I've, of course, heard of Captain Thunderbolt, but it was interesting to see her in the flesh, so to speak. Not the... You know what I mean.
No, I do know what you mean. I absolutely do. And the fact also is they mentioned that their crew was quite new, yet performed quite well. So it just goes to show how much of a reputation or how much of a large, infamous reputation
yes,
affect what crew come on board your ship.
Precisely. It sounded like a test run of some sort. Makes you wonder what they were planning. If that was true, of course, as well, not all. Image, as you say.
I mean, they are pirates. They do what they want, I guess. I'm sure they might have some grand scheme, but who knows?
That's true. Well, as you say, friend, it's good to live in the moment. Who knows what danger's on the horizon? But
I believe that's the very meaning of being a pirate.
It is true. Of course, not that we're pirates. So, no, would never be.
No. There's lines that you have to cross.
Yes, precisely. And, as a fellow seafarer of long stead who's been on many ships such as I, it's depends on when you have to cross those lines. But luckily we haven't, so that's good.
I was expecting another story.
Oh, well, there was once upon a time I was on a ship who were transporting one of the kings of Polaris, which of course was quite, as you know, I mean, I was once a prince of Polaris. I've run away from that life when I was but a lad to join the seas. As was always my dream of a life of adventure. And so we're transporting a king, and I don't even remember his name at the moment, but it was quite a grand affair. I was the personal bodyguard, which again was pretty incredible considering he might have recognized me, but it's okay. I wore a moustache. I know I already have facial hair, but it was a different moustache, so I was completely unrecognizable. I was also only 17 at the time. And then it was raining a day just like today, and then there was a gathering storm rolling in, and then there was a crack of thunder, and then just like that, a pirate ship crested along the waves, and suddenly there were like 6 pirate ships actually, and they were just suddenly there. I don't know how we didn't see it. We didn't have a good enough navigator as yourself, of course. And then, we just so we all set up to go to combat. We were all preparing our weapons. I was there guarding the king, ready for anything, hoping that my fake moustache wouldn't fall off. And then, the second waves, the second thundercrack sort of happened, and suddenly gone. They were a mirage. Like you said, pirates, all substance. And no substance or talk. You know what I mean. True story, definitely happened. Anyway, I'm going to go check down board.
And then Fishman says to himself, there were 6 kings and 1 pirate. I can't follow this.
Have a wonderful afternoon. I'll see you later. May 𝘍𝘢𝘵𝗵𝘀𝘀𝘀 kiss your sails. He flies off with a flurry of his wings.
All right. So, as the day transitions towards afternoon and we get closer as we approach the time for the senior officers meeting, can I get someone else to roll me a d20 for an afternoon potential encounter, please?
I'm happy to do that, but was there anything Elton was doing in the meantime
Yeah,
I just want to know where Elton is.
yeah, he would have kind of set everything up in the kitchen and then kind of just left it in Kara's hands because he still has no, I got to do my second job, and go and look for people to check up on them to see how they were doing after yesterday. So would Neris have actually come to Alton, or would before that, or?
So Neris definitely would have sought Alton out at some stage, for mainly sort of stocks and requisition, because being both medic and cook is fairly important to make sure that you have all the supplies that you need.
Absolutely.
So he would definitely come to you and pull out the same notebook as well that he had with the captain. Jot down anything that was required, as well as any sort of special orders if Alton had any of those. He would also ask for a quick checkup because he took a little bit of damage, so naturally Neris thinks he's dying.
Absolutely. No, Alton would take this very seriously. He'd be like, okay, all right, you were electrocuted. That's very serious. Let's check your heart. Let's check your eyes. How are your muscles doing? Do you need pain medication? Rate the pain.
It is. I mean, it comes and goes, but I'm worried that I might potentially have to lose part of my hand. I immediately put my hand where it hit, and I think there was an aftershock of some description.
Right.
I get the little tingles.
The little tingles. That sounds quite severe. Can you rate your pain on he pulls out a little embroidered little bit of fabric that has a really, really depressed, sad looking smiley face, and it gets happier and happier until it's got a really happy smiley face. Where would you be on this scale?
As generally, or
no. In regards to the pain, really, really, really sad is I am basically on the floor. I am basically unable to move because of the pain.
Maybe a 2 at the moment, but sometimes it might go up to a 3 or maybe a 4. I rolled over on the wrong side and hit my head on a big support beam, and I think that really hurt me this morning. But I feel that might have the electricity, the zaps may have messed with the coordination as well. I have not done that for a while. Normally, I go to the left.
No, that's a fair consideration. Don't want you. There's plenty of things to bump into here. You wouldn't want that to have to happen. But I don't think you're going to need the good stuff. But I can give you a little bit of pain relief medication.
Okay. Can I mix that with rum?
No, definitely not. Please do not do that.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, that's not good for the body, and definitely not if, you don't want your hand to actually fall off, do you?
I do not, no.
No, so follow the doctor's orders, all right?
That sounds like a plan.
Good, all right. We'll keep an eye on how the tingles are going. Hopefully they'll recover on their own, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Of course, I will take detailed notes and let you know.
Excellent. Actually, while you're here, did you happen to figure out what we got out of the parlay?
That...
I'm not enjoying the length of this pause.
Is the embroidered happy sad scale still out?
Sure, it's just like kind of holding it down, but yeah.
Neris very slowly points to like the sad face. Unfortunately, the discussions did not go as according to what one would assume would be a good plan.
What? Did we somehow end up working for them or something?
That would be outrageous. I think that may be something that you can bring up with the captain. I'm sure the captain will be detailing that in a mission report that will come at some stage.
Right.
Yes. But I am sure that the next parley that we undertake will be highly rewarded. And the goods that we did receive from this will be beneficial to us all in the long run. I have faith that surely some good will come of this.
I see. Well, positive thinking, they say, can be quite good. I either believe that more than it seems like it. Well, wonderful. I guess I'll go and do my job. In the meantime, hopefully it hasn't changed once I figure out what's up.
No, I am sure everything is fine. And again, do let me know if you need any special requisitions for your positions here on this vessel.
Of course, I'll have to think about it.
Right, well, do I need to lie down and have these, or am I able to continue my normal routines?
You're probably good to continue as normal, just if anything gets worse, take it easy or come see me.
I will definitely come and see you as soon as anything does go horribly wrong.
Wonderful.
Well, have a good day.
You too.
And he'll get up with his new medication and walk out the door.
I'd like to mention throughout the day, Tibble would have found each of the senior officers at some point and mentioned the captain's dinner. Upon speaking to one of them, perhaps the fishman or even Alton, who would point out that the captain's quarters themselves probably not the best space for dining.
Yes.
When there's 4 big folk amongst that. He would then take it as an early dinner and order the rest of the crew to have their dinner at a later time, so at like 2100.
As a note, an alternative would be it's not much bigger. Well, it's about the same size space, but it doesn't have the encumbrance of like a bed and a living space. There is the war room across from your quarters, Tibble.
That'd work, because I can imagine there would be
planning.
Yeah, there would be the war table and the ability to change that into a more seatable area. So upon the suggestion of one of the others, let's say Fishman. Would Fishman be insightful enough to have suggested that, Jake?
Well, I can't imagine this is our first first debriefing, so I'm sure we would have had something set up. So he probably wouldn't have come up with the idea, but he probably would have suggested, like, why don't we just do what we always do, kind of thing. So
Cool. Yeah. But yeah, either way, that is what happens, and Tibble goes through each of the senior officers. And once that little error is brought up, he then will go around to each of the senior officers again, presumably having gone to Fishman last, and be like, yes, there has been a change of location just across the hall to the usual haunt. Don't know why that didn't occur to me in the first place, but, you know. And yeah, that's what he would do.
All right. Can I get that
8.
random encounter?
8 was also
8.
the roll for the random
It
encounter.
it is a clear afternoon,
Yeah.
other than the weather.
Wonderful. And aside from that, Tibble just spends the rest of the day, unless someone needs him, any of the crew needs him, he spends it on the deck, navigating, but doing captain things, being the captain, directing people to steer the boat.
Yeah, it's not too long before it reaches the time for you to have your officers meeting. You all gather in the war room, and as is customary for these kinds of occasions, there are seats set around the war room table, and food setting all set up. What would how would you like to start?
So as everyone arrives, Tibble greets them, and everyone would know where they would usually sit at these sort of things. It's probably not usual that we would have it as like a evening dinner sort of thing. But it does happen. But you can tell that this is probably like an important mission, or that because of the events that have just happened, Tibble wanted to have a more sort of personal and private meeting, because you would all know that he does prefer to have all of his meals in the evening with all of the crew and mingling amongst all of the crew, and will spend different times at different tables in the mess. So for this sort of event to happen, you're like, okay, well, we're going to be discussing like a serious mission. So Tibble would encourage you all to take a seat. His own seat would be on top of the war table, just because of how most sailing ships are accommodated more for the larger folk. Just as, there are obviously sailing ships that are exclusively for the smaller folk, but on a mixed crew ship like this, it's better to accommodate for the larger folk and have smaller folk accessibility, rather than vice versa, because you can't fit the larger folk really in the smaller folks' ships. They bump their heads too much. So Tibble is seated on top of the table, with his own smaller dining table that is kind of like a small esky size, or like a small cardboard box size, but it's just a table that can get sort of taken on and off as needed. I think during non-dining events, it's most likely used so that we can have a smaller map over top of like a planning map, or have some form of elevated notes or somewhere to put other things that are relevant. So it does have multiple uses, but Tibble is sitting up there. He's also set another little folk table, and as everyone sits down, he does say, "Thank you all for coming. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedules and coming to this meeting. Now, I do have to ask before we begin, and it is completely fine if not. Cara will be bringing us our meals this evening. Does anyone have any objections to her sitting in once the meals have been bought? Not for the strategic purposes, but just so I can have a meal with my wife, really. However, I completely understand objections. This is an official senior officers meeting."
Jonas looks cheerful, but he looks at Neris.
Neris does sort of blink a couple of times and twitch his nose a little bit. But he does shake his head.
No problem with it.
No, he doesn't.
Fishman will put an index finger on the end of his nose and sort of gesture it away from his nose and point it outwards, saying, "I don't mind."
I think it's wonderful to spend extra time with your wife.
It's up to you, Captain.
Yes, but it isn't just up to me, lad. This is well, the table's square, but a round table of sorts. Well, rectangle, really. What I'm saying is, I appreciate you all as senior officers and would prefer to have your input rather than not. So if there is ever something that makes you uncomfortable, like my wife sitting in on a senior officers meeting, that is fine. I'm not going to take it to heart. I will see her later on this evening and most likely would have relayed everything anyway. It's just cuts out the middleman, you know?
Oh, I do know.
I know you would, Janice. Yes,
Oh,
you don't you.
You really are living the dream, Captain, sailing the seas with your lovely wife.
Maybe you can convince Anna and the kids to join us next time. Though
Oh, that would be wonderful.
it is a bit dangerous for wee folk.
Yes.
How old are your kids again?
Oh, well, so Bob's only about 2. Stacey is about, she's 3. Yes, that's right. Michaela is 5. Nicola is 7. And Abias 8. And then, and that's all of them. Yes. Well,
You've got a growing little team of senior officers amongst.
Oh, absolutely.
your,
A full show.
expanding crew.
Yes. We're thinking of Tiber for the next one.
Oh, wonderful name.
Yes.
Anyway, wives aside, we should perhaps get down to business. If y'all are happy to get into it before the meals come out.
Of course.
Aye, wonderful. Well, I have debriefed with some of you, and by that I mean with Neris. And, 2 of you were present, but first point of order, we should speak about what happened yesterday. I don't know what that was, apologies. Yesterday. And our little encounter with the Red Phoenix. So, as you would all be aware, we did participate in a parlay, a rather successful one, if I do say so myself. We got to meet the dreaded Captain Thunderbolt herself. Not so dreaded, lovely lass. Quite accommodating, really. Didn't poison us, which, I thought she might have poisoned the wine.
I was surprised
Seemed
by
of sorts.
it, yes.
Yes, but she didn't, and we had a lovely drink and some lovely conversation. She said she found me interesting, which is... I don't quite know whether it's racist. But nonetheless, I'm sure she hasn't met many of my folks, so it's fine for us to be interesting. Alas, we did have our little parley conversation and negotiations in exchange for our free passage. Myself, Janice, and our fish lad over there, the fishman, all partook in lovely conversation and wine, which was quite pleasant. That was what she wanted in exchange for our free passage, which I think was quite a fair bargain, if you ask me. Then, on the subject of dear young Lauren, well, she would have been a valuable asset to our team. I've met her many a times before. She's a lovely lass, though a pirate, apparently, which is intriguing. She did want Lauren back, which is fair enough. We do have quite the fine navigator in our crew, if I do say so myself. But, of course, as your captain, I was not willing to just let her go for free. So I am very happy to announce that, well, Captain Thunderbolt, the fearsome pirate herself, has offered us a favor. Isn't that exciting?
Janice in the background.
Alton just kind of looks at Neris with raised eyebrows.
Neris is staring at Alton throughout this entire conversation.
Sorry, what exactly is a favor? Is it like a full partnership or something? Are we business
Of a sorts. Well, she's agreed not to sink us or board us next time, and I explained to her that we may one day, someday soon, be in a position where the assistance of a feared pirate captain such as herself and her crew may, well, be pretty advantageous to us. And I dare say we are most likely the only vessel on all of the seas who can boast as to having this particular asset, though I don't know whether boasting about it would be the smartest idea at this stage, so keep it to the crew. And, well, Janice, just make sure Anna and the young ones keep their lips if you pass it on that way.
Oh, of course. No, don't worry.
As I'm sure you're inclined.
Secrets. You know how it is.
Aye, of course, with your, well, friend? No. What would the correct terminology be, Janice, for describing your transformation? I don't want to call it a condition. That makes it sound incorrect.
Yes. No, yes, just when my form changes, yes.
Aye. You're changing of forms. As beautiful as it be, you become quite fearsome and handsome, if I do say so myself. I'm sure my wife wouldn't mind me saying so.
Oh, no. There's nothing wrong with appreciating, the fine visage of another man. Not that way, obviously, but, and there's nothing wrong with that as well. Not.
As if on cue, Kara enters, probably in the tail end of that. And she rolls her eyes heavily. She's carrying like 2 trays of like food. She probably has a few crew members that are carrying the rest of it because she is 3 feet tall and not as strong as Tibble. And so anyone who would have seen her enter would see her roll her eyes and shake her head. She doesn't look like pissed off, but she does look just exasperated with her husband.
I will also note, Alton and Fishman, you do notice through the porthole that the light outside, or outside the wind and the rain seems to have picked up a little bit, and there's a sort of mix of kind of pink and cyan light to the atmosphere.
Captain.
Hey, lad. Do you also wish to discuss appreciating the form of another man?
I mean, it is quite the admirable trait to have.
Thank you.
And do you have all the traits of a shark?
Just like looks, well, some of the things that are true about sharks are also true for me, yes.
It's quite, hang on. I do apologize. I would like to ask, perhaps we make this quick, or perhaps I could duck out for just a second.
Of course, you may have your leave. I was just about to get to our next mission, which is quite important. Shall we take maybe a 5-minute break, recess?
It's not that I've particularly been taking tabs, but from what I can see outside, it's not anything like it was before. Clear skies, a little bit of rain. It now seems to be changing colors and the weather is picking up. I would like to get a better look at it.
Yeah, there's some weird shit going on out there.
That's a good way to put it.
Hey, of course. I mean, our meals were just served and my wife has slaved away, but sailing the boat is more important. You are correct. Kara, dear, I apologize. And he kind of, Kara, who's stepped up, because there would have been like a little step ladder thing, stepped up onto the table and taken her seat. She just kind of waves it off and signs a few things. Those of you who are present who understand sign would understand her to say, don't be an idiot, go take care of the ship.
Fishman will probably lead the way out and say, I've been around long enough to know that the sea is very unpredictable, and the smallest change can usually be a sign for something quite large. And as he goes out, he'll like face Kara and like put a fist up onto his chest and rotate it counterclockwise and kind of grit his teeth in kind of like a regrettable, compassionate sort of way as he like backs out.
She has a very warm smile to that and signs thank you, and then the sign that she has for your name.
Anna's following him and tries very hard to kind of, like, he's like, oh, he kind of like just starts for a moment, like, oh, that's right. And then kind of like turns and tries to do the same kind of like hand movement, but it's just not great. The tone is not good. Bye.
Kara laughs to herself a little bit. And Tibble would also just be like, I'm sure it's lovely, love. We'll get to it, hopefully. And just like goes up on his tippy toes and kisses her cheek and then scurries down on all fours. Fucks off.
So, as you step out onto the deck, can I get everyone to roll me a perception check, please?
Neris has not quite gotten out onto the deck yet.
Okay.
So would you like him to roll at disadvantage or not at all?
Yeah, roll at disadvantage.
I rolled a natural one.
Okay.
Great for your boat's
The brain just goes directly into your eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, okay, it looks immediately up. Oh,
Was it perception?
Perception, yes.
Yeah, 15 for Tibble.
15? Okay.
check out the sky. Oh,
14 for Elton.
14 for Alton. Fishman?
If Fishman can, he'd like to get like a height advantage. So if he can make his way up to the crow's nest, and he rolled his passive, which is 18.
18. Okay. And Neris, what did you get in the end?
So Neris has, instead of looked at the porthole, has looked back at the table and just grabbed like a little slice of bread and is just sort of chewing on that. And he takes a little bit of a look outside and he gets a 10.
Okay. So with that, Tibble, Fishman, and Alphen, you notice that there's a strangeness to the wind, is the best way to describe it. Fishman, there's something sort of familiar to this, almost elemental in nature. Other than that, it's a bit hard to really understand, but you are currently within, and there's no real way of avoiding it, so it's not like the crew have done anything wrong, but a sort of best way of explaining it, some sort of strange, almost arcane seeming storm that you have found yourselves in.
You were right to bring us out. This doesn't appear to be the most normal storm.
Just quickly at that point, Fishman will ring a bell, because there's probably a bell up there.
Yep.
And he'll yell out, magical storm! Magical storm!
And as you do that, especially with the call, your junior officers come to deck. But also, some sections of wind start to pick up, and a bolt of lightning strikes down in the middle of the ship, not doing any damage, but remaining there, almost like a sort of living, sentient lightning bolt, as there is a lightning elemental and 2 air elementals that have made themselves present on the deck. As
The tingles.
all right, can I get everyone to roll for initiative, please? Okay, so almost as if it was metaphorically apt, the lightning bolt elemental won initiative, and is going to go for what other crew would already be out here. Where they be? We would have our other lookout. Would have so spot that would be down deck. So the lightning bolt is going to go for I'm gonna start by going for who was first out of the
Probably Fishman.
probably Fishman, followed by
Either
I
Tibble
think
or
Janice
probably.
was
Probably Janice.
next,
Yeah.
and then Tibble, and then Alton.
okay. So in that
With
case,
Neris still enjoying a meal with Kara.
yeah.
Probably chatting away to him in sign. They're probably having a pleasant conversation.
It was a pleasant conversation right up until someone said something arcane storm, and now Neris is not okay.
So in that case, Janice, go for you first.
Let it.
And it is going to that block. So it is going to do. Yeah, it's gonna do its big. It's gonna do its big thing to start with. So can you roll me? Oh, actually. Yeah, no, it's just gonna do its standard things. So it's gonna make 2 strikes against you. First one is a 11 to hit.
Doesn't hit.
The second is a 12.
Also doesn't hit.
Yeah. All right. Next is Tibble's go.
Wonderful. So Tibble, he's going to scurry around. Is he able to get so that he is flanking with Janice?
What? Yes, you can.
Beautiful, wonderful. What I love to hear. So he is going to expend one of his superiority dice to make a commander's strike. So he scutters, so he is flanking the elemental with Janice after it attacks Janice, and he calls out, "Aye, Janice, with me!" And they are going to attack at the same time. So essentially, Tibble mechanically is giving up one of his attacks so that Janice can attack now with him.
That's really cool.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Darby, but Janice would also get advantage from this?
Yes. Yes.
Wonderful. Also, I have to roll my superiority dice, and Janice adds that to his damage if he hits.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'll let you know what that is.
Just of
So
note,
that's an
that
additional
does-
3.
Yeah. Just of note, that does use your reaction, but I don't think there's going to be much other need for your reaction for your turn.
Does it? It doesn't say
Yeah.
anything in here saying it does.
That they can use their reaction to make an attack.
No, because I give up my bonus action to do it. Oh,
My reaction.
I gave up my bonus
Janice's
action.
Oh,
reaction.
my. Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Janice-
Janice's
Janice
reaction.
uses
Okay,
their
that's
reaction.
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good to
No,
know.
that's fine.
Thank you. That's all good.
That's fine as long as that's fine with Janice.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That's all good.
And if it's not too bad, I'm the captain. So Tibble is. I'll do Tibble's attack first, and then Janice, you do
Easy.
yours, even though they're at the same time. So that would be 22 to hit,
22
and it was one-handed, if that matters.
It does only for your damage dice. The long sword over
Yeah.
D8 rather than a D10.
No, I just mean if it matters for me to announce that to you. So that would be a 12 points of damage with the 𝘬𝘁𝘂𝘁 Cutlass.
𝘬𝘁𝘂𝘁 Cutlass, magical damage. Nice. And it's just
Excellent.
standard slashing, so brilliant. And Janice.
And sort of as Tibble calls, Janice like clocks where Tibble is and kind of like just immediately kind of like changes his stance. And he was already holding like the wave-riding glaive that he has. So it's the really big glaive that you've seen his character on. And he kind of adjusts the hold of it almost immediately and just kind of like butts the lightning bolt at the same time with his with like the end of it, which is still very pointy. Okay, so an advantage. Cool. So at an advantage, it's an 18 plus an 8. So I definitely think that's going to hit.
Definitely.
So it's a 10 plus 5. Cool. I rolled a 10. Awesome. So 15 points of damage.
Is that including the +3?
from the
Oh, no.
superiority dice?
So 18 points
No,
of damage.
so yeah, 18 points of damage. As he just like jabs straight into it.
Yeah, this living lightning already shaky.
Good move, Captain.
Like
Everyone,
sparks
pull
flying
in.
off of it. Then it is the air elemental go. So given the of them, first one I think close in on Alton. And I'm sorry, Alton, but it's gonna go into your space and use a. So you are surrounded by this whipping wind, and it uses whirlwind ability. Can I get you to make me a dexterity saving throw?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, a strength saving throw.
Oh no, couldn't it be Dex? Okay. Oh, I rolled really bad. That's an 8.
Oh. Okay, so you will take from that 15 points of bludgeoning damage. And
Yikes.
can you roll me a D8?
Yeah. 2.
2. Okay, so you are flung into stairs. And end up thrown around. Not really ideal.
Happy about it.
You did hit the banisters there, so you do take an additional 1 point of bludgeoning damage. Alright. That is your go, though. No, that is its go, not your go. Your go is yet to occur. The other air elemental is gonna... You know what? It's gonna ascend and go. Yeah, it's gonna ascend and go for Fishman. And Fishman is gonna try to do the same to you. So can I
Not
get
with a
you to
save
roll
of
me
9.
So can you roll me a D8, please?
Whoops. Yeah, sure. A 1.
A 1. Okay, so you are flown onto the top of the ship, at the front of the ship, and you take 12 points of bludgeoning damage as you make impact. Alright. Okay. And next is your go. You are right by the ballista.
Ooh. Little rundown for Ballistae, please, Darby.
Okay, so this is, and it is in the Polaris statistics of the spreadsheet. So it does, it is a +6 to hit, with a range of 120 feet or 480 feet. Targets one target and does 3d10 non-magical bludgeoning damage.
Does it pierce?
No. Bludgeoning damage.
Sorry, not so much like piercing damage, but would it pierce through a wind elemental is what I'm asking.
You might have knowledge of this, so I'll let you roll an Arcana check.
Sure. 19.
19. So, it'd do a bit. It wouldn't be as effective as something more corporeal, but it would do some damage.
He'll probably take his chances with something else. So he will... Is there like a nook he can get himself into? somewhere where he gets like some really good like footing, maybe rests his back against something?
You could get right up to the edge of the ship and rest your back against the railing. That's about it.
He'll do that, and he'll then use a bonus action. So his bonus action, he's going to use that to activate Planar Warrior.
Yeah.
So he should still be within 30 feet of that air elemental, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So that is now his target, and now he's going to attempt to take an attack. So
All right.
with his crossbow.
Roll to hit.
Fingers crossed. That's a 10.
10. That does not hit. Do I believe have a second attack?
I do, yeah. I'm just contemplating other things. So his second one is a 23 to hit.
That certainly hits.
So a couple of things happen now. First off, he takes 10 force damage
10
now
force damage.
because it's no longer piercing.
Yeah.
I believe, let me just double check if that is magical. No, it's just force.
Yeah.
And
Well, force is magical.
yeah,
Generally,
there you
by
go.
definition.
That's what I was hoping for. And I roll an extra 1d8, which I rolled 8, so they take a total of 18 force
Alright.
damage.
Nice.
Excelente, and that's everything he can do right now.
Yeah. All right. Janice.
Awesome. So Janice is like,
Nice spotting, Tibble. Nice spotting, Captain. Fishman, you're right. Alton, how are you doing? Flora, come in here closer. Come on, everyone, crew. Disperse or come at the ready. People who are... We've got an arcane storm on our hands, and he kind of like blows like a little whistle that's around his neck a couple of times. And if the others call out to him, he will listen to that. But otherwise, he starts to just like start sparking as much as the electrical elemental as his like mouth curves into a wicked grin, and like the storm kind of like whips up around him, and he goes into a rage as a bonus action. So he is going to. Hang on, just go double check one more. 10 foot aura. Do I have the only thing that's close to me that's within 10 feet that's an enemy is the lightning elemental, isn't it?
Yeah. The other. The
I
other
assume it's
elemental there
immune,
is
but anyway,
just-
that would be 3 points of lightning damage.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
immune.
Tibble is.
Yeah. Tibble's not an enemy though. I get to choose.
Tibble's also Tibble is technically just out of the 10 foot.
Because
well,
he's
there
too
we go.
short.
No,
He's too short.
because there's a large lightning bolt, sentient lightning bolt in the way.
It's all right, Tibble. I like to keep my enemies far, far away, so you're but a comrade to me.
Lad.
And yeah, so the storm whips up around him, and he as it calls out to check if Fishman and Alton are okay, he again is going to stab into this electrical elemental with his glaive. So it's I should roll to hit, shouldn't I? So it's a 19 to hit.
Certainly hits.
Awesome. So it's a D10. So that's cool. It's a 7. So 12 points of damage. Slashing damage, I believe it is. It is a magical weapon, I believe, as well. He's just not going to do the extra magical thing it can do because no reason.
Okay.
And that ends his turn.
All right. Next is Alton.
Ow. Great. As a free action, he puts his hat and glasses back on, and then he stands up with half of his movement. Am I like at the opposite side of the ship to Fishman?
No, you're on the same side.
Oh, we're close by.
Yeah.
Excellent. In that case, can I go for any healing without making an attack of opportunity.
One thing I will quickly add, sorry, you would also see that he's being very particular with how he's placing his limbs and back up against the railing and such as well.
Okay. You're just within range to move to get to him with your movement, but you would get an attack of opportunity from the air elemental.
Okay. Well, if he's looking a bit bad, I will take the attack of opportunity.
Alright.
I'll be like, alright, let's get some bandaging.
Alright. That's probably going to hit at a 24.
Yeah.
So that's...
Oh, I rolled bad.
So 12 points of bludgeoning damage you take from this slam attack. But you do manage to get to Fishman.
Yeah, so he reaches Fishman, kind of shakes his head, and then it's like, all right, let's get you bandaged up. Quickly bandages up any injuries. It's like, all right, you got this. That's 10 HP for Fishman.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And then he will go and hide behind Fishman.
All right. Somewhat easy to do from this point. All right. So, next is from inside Neris.
Yeah. So Neris is going to go open up the door and just be like, "Oh, absolutely not," and close the door again. He'll take just sort of like a couple of deep breaths and then kind of like open the door about halfway again and just kind of look out. He would like to look at everything, mainly the lightning elemental, because, you know, the foreshadowing is real, and as a creature of foreshadowing, Neris is nervous. Can he, like, identify where these creatures may have come from, or what if they have a purpose? Is there part of a bigger plan here, or does it just...
roll me an Arcana check.
Stance. I would like. Oh, a 12.
You've heard of places where, like, there's sort of bleeding of the planes, weird magical effects. This could be that. You're not really sure.
Okay. Then he will quickly survey the floor plan, looking at specifically Alton, going, if in Neris's mind, he goes, if Alton is going to take any hits, then I'm going to try and do something about that. But if that thing, just talking to himself and pointing out the lightning elemental, goes to attack me, it's really going to hurt. That's all he does. That is his...
Neris, as he's saying that, he probably feels like a paw touch his leg. And if he looks down, he'll see Kara looking up at him. And she's got this sort of worried but mostly caring look on her face. And she just signs up to him, "You don't have to go out."
Neris will look down with a very understanding smile and say, "Oh, I have no intention of going out," and signing as well. He is staying right where he is, and that is his entire turn.
She smiles and, like, pats his knee.
All right. And as the remainder of the senior officers come out from the safer of the two openings, in the deck, we are going to leave it there for this week.
And the daring adventurers of the Polaris make their way through this combat and stay alive. Wait until next time, where there'll be 10 other electrical elementals, but they'll all turn out to be a mirage. See you next week.
And then the king came, and then all the king's horses
Yes,
came.
and I was awarded a knighthood.
Sorry for this.
Anna, are you listening?
Goodbye,
Oh no,
folks.
you can hear.
See you next week.
Keep on sailing, everyone.
Bye.
Alright.
Keep on
hope they
sailing,
all
everyone. Just
vanish.
throwing
Oh,
that one into the air.
that's
I like it.
I've been sneakily doing it at
My
the end of each
God.
one.
That's so good.
It's really cute.
You probably said it last week, and my brain immediately forgot
Yeah.
everything that ever happened last week.